The City of Thunder Bay selects an external candidate to become the next city manager. Good evening and thank you for joining us. City Council officially announced the news today following an extensive search. John Collin will take over on June 17th, replacing Norm Gale, who announced his retirement early this year. Josh Morano has been following the story. Josh, what kind of background does Collin bring to this position?
Well, Ryan, he has over 40 years of leadership and management experience. Collin's career path was mainly spent in the Canadian Armed Forces, where he served for 35 years. Collin also has experience in the municipal role, spending 4 years as city manager in St. John, New Brunswick. Following months of the hiring process, Thunder Bay City Council introduced their new city manager to take over for the retiring Norm Gale. John Collin, an outside hire, was introduced by Council via video conference. Collin most recently was city manager in Yellowknife, but he relinquished the position after just 2 weeks due to personal reasons, and he then decided to take on the role in Thunder Bay. He says his heart wanted to be back in Ontario, and Collin jumped at the opportunity here.
So from a purely selfish point of view, I think I'm truly going to enjoy the city. In fact, my wife and I have talked about making it our forever home. And we've never had a forever home because of my career. And I would love to make Thunder Bay my forever home. Being at the municipal level and making a difference at that level very much excites me. So being a city manager in Thunder Bay, both from a personal side and also from a work perspective, is really what enthuses me at this point in time.
Collin spent 35 years in the Canadian Armed Forces before retiring as a 2-star Major General and then moving to the municipal sector. Councillor Andrew Folds was chair of the selection committee, and while he says they narrowed it down to 3 candidates, their decision was unanimous.
In my view and the committee's view, John was just the strongest. He had great experience, varied experience, strong leadership, different experiences that he brings, different lived experiences. And one of the things that really, and I'm only speaking for myself now, he seemed to have a real commitment and passion for the city and a real desire to do good. And that weighed heavy on my mind in convincing me that he was the guy.
Collin will take over on June 17th and will have some overlap with Gale before he retires. Josh Morano, TBT News.
St. Joseph's Care Group has announced that it will close its Behavioral Sciences Centre at the end of October. The centre on Lily Street North has operated for 37 years. It provides employee and family assistance programming along with medical and health assessment services. St. Joe's Vice President Adam Shane says while they've diversified their services over the years, the decision to close comes amid increased competition with other service providers. He says they're working closely with clients to secure a smooth transition to other providers. The centre will operate as normal until October 31st.
Capacity is always challenging. There's always an ever-growing need for the services. I think the market itself has saturated as far as providers go and become a little bit more challenging from a sustainability perspective. But within the market, there's always need. There are providers that are existing, and our hope is that every client that we have worked with is able to successfully transition to a new provider.
The Behavioral Sciences Centre has 10 St. Joseph's Care Group employees, along with a number of contractors who are receiving help navigating their employment options. Shane says St. Joe's will retain as many of those employees as possible in other areas. 2 men from Southern Ontario have been charged with drug trafficking. Thunder Bay Police seized about $215,000 worth of cocaine and fentanyl from a Heartland Street home yesterday afternoon. The accused are 25 and 23 years old. The first was arrested near Simpson and Rowan Streets after a brief foot chase, and the second was arrested during a traffic stop. The pair appeared in court today and remain in custody. Work has temporarily halted at the site of the new headquarters of the Lake Superior National Marine Conservation Area in Nipigon after a bone was found in the excavated material. The bone was sent to Ontario's Centre of Forensic Science, which confirmed that it's not human, according to an OPP spokesperson. A groundbreaking ceremony was just held on May 4th for the $37 million Parks Canada facility. The bone was discovered 4 days later. A number of objects dating from the mid to late 1900s were also uncovered. Site manager Lisa Nyman says construction stopped as soon as they were alerted about the bone, but it's now been decided that the work can resume tomorrow.
Archaeological assessments are done prior to construction as part of impact assessment. When artifacts are located after construction has begun, Parks Canada follows the guidance of terrestrial archaeology professionals, and for this particular project, recommendations from Red Rock Indian Band to inform us on the appropriate course of action. Parks Canada is working with Red Rock Indian Band to hire an environmental monitor for the remainder of the excavation.
That environmental monitor will be a Red Rock Band member and is trained to start as soon as possible. When finished, the building will serve as a visitor center and headquarters for the conservation area. The project has been many years in the making and is expected to open in 2026. Ontario is cracking down on impaired drivers. The Ford government announced new proposed legislation targeting those who are convicted of driving while under the influence of alcohol or drugs. If passed, it'll include a lifetime license suspension for impaired driving causing death. CTV's Siobhan Morris has the details.
It's a pernicious behavior the government's trying to block.
When you get in the car under the influence, you're rolling a weighted dice.
With 1 in 3 road deaths caused by an impaired driver, Ontario is out with new rules it hopes can prevent bad decisions and heartbreak.
A lifetime license suspension for those convicted of impaired driving causing death.
And a new safeguard on a first conviction.
Anyone convicted of impaired driving to install an ignition interlock device in their vehicle.
Ontario is bumping up license suspensions for drivers who fail roadside tests and education through CAMH on first and second convictions. Mothers Against Drunk Driving welcome the changes.
I would just love to not be doing this anymore because there are no more victims.
But the pain caused to families shows no signs of slowing.
We're seeing a record number of people dying this year or last year compared to the last 15 years with 411 deaths.
It's why drivers are giving this the green light.
There are so many accidents involved with the impaired driving, so it is a good idea.
It is a concern, and I 100% support this restriction.
I work on the highways and I work on the municipal roads, and I see that people are just a slap on the wrist, basically.
There's a rising trend of drivers impaired by cannabis that the government's also trying to address. They're working on a public awareness campaign and more tools and training for police. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Local emergency crews could be seen on the airport tarmac today, but there wasn't any real danger. They were taking part in a mock emergency training session. It was designed for emergency responders, airport personnel, and airlines to assess their response and preparedness protocols. Jessica Clement has the details.
The Thunder Bay Airport saw a number of local emergency crews on Wednesday, including all levels of police, Thunder Bay Fire, and EMS, as they participated in a mock airplane emergency scenario.
The exercise involves structuring a response to an unplanned disruption inside an aircraft mid-flight.
Airport Services Manager Ryan Brading notes the training session assesses each agency's emergency response and preparedness protocols and gets them working together like a real-life situation would. Around 60 people took part in the exercise, and up to 25 pieces of equipment were used.
We've experienced a lot of incidents over the past few years at the airport, and we really take our planning and training and procedures very seriously, most of which far exceed regulatory requirements. We consider ourselves leaders within the airport industry, and through advanced consultation with our participating agencies, we've included realistic events that intentionally stress test our established procedures.
Brading says the exercise really tests the effectiveness of communication between airport personnel, airlines, and emergency responders. The live component of the training sessions are done every 4 years, and Brading adds that they play an important part in building relationships.
The relationship we have with the city crews, the Thunder Bay Fire and EMS and the hospital and the police, various levels of law enforcement, is very positive and very strong. And I'm actually proud to say that we have a very tight relationship with all of them at the Airport Authority.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
The winner of the latest 50-50 draw in support of the Thunderbird Wildlife Rescue took home more than $13,000 today. Gail Hebert Miller is the lucky winner, announced today at Marina Park. Thunderbird Wildlife Rescue was started by Jen Salo to help injured falcons, eagles, and other raptors. The group launched the 50-50 draw last year to raise money to turn the former Chippewa Zoo into a rehabilitation center for a range of wild animals. Salo says donations are helpful, but more money is needed to continue with those plans.
You know, like, this is basically my dream coming to reality. You know, like, stepping my foot through the door at Chippewa was surreal. But then we were faced with all of the work that needed to be done to actually bring it, you know, up to standard and stuff. But I feel confident that I now know exactly what it's going to take to get the place up and running. I know exactly what it's going to take to make this place beautiful again, and I'm really excited to get started on it.
Tickets for the August draw go on sale Thursday. They're available on the Thunderbird Wildlife Rescue website and Facebook page. Thunder Bay's 2 Boston pizza restaurants had some new servers today. Members of local law enforcement came out to wait tables in support of Special Olympic athletes. The annual event saw local OPP, city police, and corrections officers on shift during lunch and dinner. A portion of the day's proceeds will go to the law enforcement torch run. Customers were also able to tip their server, with all donations going to Special Olympics Thunder Bay. The event has been going on for nearly 20 years. Boston Pizza spokesperson Sharon Mercier says the company is happy to continue that tradition.
You know, you've seen the athletes and you've met them and you've seen how inspiring they are and how dedicated they are to Special Olympics and their respective sports. So for us to be able to help them stay involved, it's you know, it's fun for us, but it's also heartwarming too.
I'm thrilled because we need the support. With Special Olympics, the people don't know much about it.
Really just showing that support to the community, that we're staying involved and want to be active and participate and join some of the athletes in special events like today and just show that support going down the road on the events that they have in the future.
The law enforcement torch run takes place in June. A local show dog and its owner scored a big win yesterday at the most prestigious dog show in the world. The 148th Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show in New York featured more than 2,500 canines and 213 different breeds. Frankie is a 3-year-old colored bull terrier owned by Sarah Bashewski of Roslyn Village. She purchased the dog as a puppy from a breeder in California. Bashewski is a breeder herself and also acted as Frankie's handler at the big event. Frankie won the best of her breed on Monday. Then on Tuesday, she was up against 31 other terrier breed winners trying to move on to the Best in Show competition. And despite those long odds, with several other dogs projected as the favorites, Frankie was selected by the judge for the top prize in her group.
The winner of tonight's terrier group will be the Colored Bull Terrier, second to the Miniature Schnauzer, third to the Soft-Coated Wheaton, fourth to the Manchester.
Unbelievable. What a tremendous group.
That is
wow.
a huge win.
What a finale today. I mean,
talk about upsets, surprises, Chris.
Yes, no bull.
Sarah and Frankie, congratulations. The 7th and final dog moving on to Best in Show. Tell us about this breed really quickly. What do you want people at home to know about him?
They're fun, loving, and bull terriers.
Well, congratulations. Perform perfectly. Do it one more time.
Well, Frankie then competed against 6 other group winners trying to win that coveted Best in Show title, but the judge chose a miniature poodle named Sage. Frankie and Sarah expect to be back home sometime next week. Congratulations to both of them, of course, for such a great showing at Westminster. Unbelievable.
Aww.
Fiona,
I'm in love.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am so in love. That looks so happy.
Yeah, like we said, most prestigious dog show in the world. That's a great showing there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, let's turn our attention to the weather now. What do you have in store for us today?
Well, it wasn't quite as sunny as it seemed out there. We had mostly cloudy skies for much of the day. We had an early morning low of 4, a high of 15. Winds were pretty consistent between about 20 and 24 kilometers per hour, although there was a couple of short periods where it did kick up to about 35 Now, across the region, we've had some rain throughout the day push in from the west, starting to inch its way into the areas closer to the Manitoba border, so no surprise. Red Lake has had increasing clouds and a few brief periods of rain. That's what they're experiencing right now at a high of 12. Definitely a lot warmer in Fort Frances. They're currently at their daytime high of 18, albeit at this moment cloudy, but they too have had a couple of brief showers work their way in. And nice warm temperatures as you head into Dryden, Upsala at 17, 19 in Atikokan, 18 in Nipigon. Armstrong and Greenstone right now under lots of sunshine. They're at 16 Celsius. Marathon actually did top out at 16. Temperatures have just started to drop in the last couple of hours. And on the eastern shores of Lake Superior, Wawa's at 17-15 in the Sioux. That was after a very cool overnight low of 1. They're under partly cloudy skies. Here in the city of Thunder Bay, we will drop back down to a low of 4 once again, and even more clouds rolling in. We'll start out with winds gusting around 30 kilometers per hour from the east, but it will actually taper off. And as we head into the last couple work days of the week, it's looking like we are going to see some rain. And all in all, considering what has been going on across the country, it's not necessarily a bad thing to see, but I know a lot of folks have their hopes pinned on a really sunny and dry long weekend, especially some of the runners for the 10-mile road race. And so far, it's not looking too bad for the weekend. We just have to get through the next couple of days.
Okay, sounds good. And like you said, Fiona, it could be a lot worse. They would love to see some of that rain out west. That is because those out-of-control wildfires continue to rage in BC, Alberta, even into Manitoba. Thousands of people have been forced from their homes. We'll have the latest on that and more when your news hour continues after the break.
I can confirm that there has been some structural damage in the outlying areas of Fort Nelson.